If your social feed is lighting up with news about Israel and Iran, you're not alone. The world is watching, and the tension is palpable. In cafes, living rooms, and workplaces across the globe, people are glued to their screens, trying to make sense of a rapidly unfolding crisis that could reshape the Middle East, and perhaps the world. Major airstrikes just rocked the region, sending shockwaves far beyond the immediate blast zones. The night sky over Iran was lit up by explosions, and the aftermath has left entire neighborhoods in chaos. Here's what you need to know about this unprecedented escalation. In a meticulously coordinated operation, Israel's military, known as the IDF, launched Operation Rising Lion overnight. This was not a limited strike. Over 100 targets across Iran were hit in a matter of hours, marking one of the most ambitious and far-reaching military actions in recent history. The operation was planned in utmost secrecy, with Israeli jets flying low and fast to avoid detection, and advanced electronic warfare systems jamming Iranian radars. About 200 Israeli fighter jets participated in the operation, taking off from multiple air bases under the cover of darkness. Their primary mission: to strike at the heart of Iran's nuclear infrastructure and key military sites. Pilots, some of whom had trained for years for this very scenario, executed complex maneuvers to evade Iranian air defenses. The scale and precision of the attack stunned military analysts worldwide. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the nation just hours after the strikes, stating that the goal was to disrupt Iran's nuclear program. He claimed that new intelligence showed Iran was actively working on nuclear warheads, and that Israel had no choice but to act. Netanyahu's speech was defiant, warning that Israel would not tolerate any existential threat and would do whatever it takes to ensure its security. One of the most significant targets was the Natanz nuclear enrichment facility, a site long suspected of being central to Iran's nuclear ambitions. Satellite images and eyewitness reports confirmed that black smoke was seen rising from the area, suggesting that critical infrastructure may have been damaged or destroyed. The full extent of the damage is still being assessed, but early indications point to a major setback for Iran's nuclear program. However, not all of Iran's nuclear sites were hit. Facilities like Fordow and Bushehr, both of which are heavily fortified and monitored by international agencies, appeared to escape the initial wave of strikes. This has led to speculation that Israel may be holding back, keeping the option open for future operations, or that these sites were simply too well defended to risk a direct attack at this stage. In addition to nuclear facilities, the Israeli strikes targeted Iran's radar and missile defense systems. By knocking out these critical assets, Israel has seriously weakened Iran's ability to defend its airspace against future attacks. Military experts say this could leave Iran vulnerable to further strikes, and may have been a calculated move to pave the way for additional operations if necessary. The human cost of the operation is already being felt. Iranian state media has confirmed the deaths of several top military leaders, including the commander of the Revolutionary Guard Corps and the nation's chief of staff. Their loss is a devastating blow to Iran's military command structure and has sparked outrage and calls for revenge across the country. Funeral processions have drawn massive crowds, with mourners demanding swift retaliation. In response, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei has vowed severe punishment. In a televised address, he condemned the Israeli strikes as an act of war and promised that Iran would respond with force. Across Tehran and other major cities, angry crowds have taken to the streets, chanting anti-Israel slogans and calling for unity in the face of what they see as foreign aggression. Iran wasted no time in launching a counterattack. Over 100 drones were sent hurtling toward Israel in a dramatic show of force. However, thanks to a coordinated effort by Israeli, Jordanian, and Iraqi air defenses, the vast majority of these drones were intercepted before they could reach their targets. Still, the barrage served as a stark reminder of how quickly the conflict could spiral out of control. The United States, while insisting it was not directly involved in the operation, has taken significant precautions. Non-essential diplomats have been evacuated from Iraq, and American military forces in the region have been placed on high alert. The U.S. government has called for restraint on all sides, but its actions suggest deep concern about the potential for a wider regional war. President Trump, never one to shy away from controversy, praised the Israeli strikes as excellent, but also issued a stark warning to Iran: negotiate or face even stronger attacks. His comments have added fuel to an already volatile situation, and world leaders are scrambling to prevent further escalation. International summits have become tense affairs, with diplomats working overtime to find a path back from the brink. The international response has been swift and divided. The UN's nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, condemned the attack, warning that it could undermine years of diplomatic progress. Russia called the strikes a clear violation of the UN Charter, while Germany responded by increasing security at Jewish and Israeli sites across the country, fearing reprisals. The world is on edge, and the diplomatic fallout is only just beginning. As the dust settles over Iran and Israel, the risk of a wider conflict remains dangerously high. Military forces across the region are on high alert, and civilians are bracing for what could come next. The possibility of further strikes, retaliatory attacks, or even a full-scale war cannot be ruled out. For millions of people, the uncertainty is both frightening and exhausting. Stay informed, this story isn't over. The coming days and weeks will be critical, as leaders on all sides weigh their next moves. For now, the world holds its breath, hoping that diplomacy can prevail over destruction.